Okay, so I go to msgs.att.net, enter my user ID, which is my email address, and my password, like I've been doing for years and did just fine 2 days ago. Log in, and get the usual confirming my identity with the PIN that was sent to my cell phone. Click Next. But instead of showing my text messages like it has for the past year or so until 2 days ago, instead I get to this page. Well, alright, so let's get started. With 4 M's, something went wrong. So I really don't have much choice there other than to exit. And that takes me to this page that nicely explains that, hey, you can text from your computer. Well, that's one thing I want to do when I go to msgs.att.net. So I say, okay, let's get started so I can send text messages from my computer. Oh, I go right back to the same place. Guess what? It's just in a loop. And so I reported this to AT&T, and through, I believe, 3 chat sessions, which were quite lengthy. And then we started having phone calls when I would explain this to the phone agent. Each chat agent and each phone agent would tell me that they were taking personal responsibility for the problem and would be sure to get it resolved for me. One phone agent did tell me that the feature had been removed, but that since I was using it regularly, don't worry, I would still be able to use it. Then I started getting email and text messages with an incident number telling me that they needed more information to call them, so I did. And each phone agent said that they were adding notes and were going to escalate it. Finally today, after dutifully calling with my case number, I got connected to an agent who told me, oh, well, the other agents clearly didn't understand what my problem was. He said that that website, msgs.att.net, was actually run by a different group, the mobility group, and so he was going to transfer me to them to solve the problem. The person at the mobility group said, well, that was actually not their job because they weren't the mobility group, they were the commercial group, so he had to go to the consumer group, so they sent me over there. The consumer group finally transferred me to a technical specialist of some kind, and the technical specialist eventually said, oh, well, this service doesn't really exist anymore, and that's why you can't use it. I asked if that seemed like a reasonable way to tell me that that's what was happening. She thought not, so we did some more work, and she got me to, instead of using my email username, use my phone number username, and to change my password. And eventually we got to the state where if I tried to log in with my phone number and password, then I got an error message that said that I'm not authorized to use the site. Although still logging in with my email username and password gives the same behavior from this video. When I complained that this was not a reasonable thing for AT&T to have done to me, she eventually transferred me to the loyalty group. The loyalty person was going to help me, but by this time the battery in my headset was running out, so I said, could you please call me back on my cell phone number? And she said yes, but she never called back. I suspect that calling back and giving them my incident number again and asking to speak to the loyalty group spokesperson will not be all that rewarding, so I'm trying to decide whether I should try that again tomorrow or should I just stick pins in my eyes or something. But instead I said, well, I'll make this video to share my misery with the world so you can know what it's like to deal with AT&T as your mobile phone provider. It's not fun. If it should turn out that I actually do get this problem solved in a reasonable way, I'll update this video or replace it with something saying how wonderful AT&T support is. We'll see what happens.